You're watching Inside Utah Politics.
We turn now to our panel to debate ballot question 1. This week we have Spencer Stokes with the State School Board and Heather Williamson with Americans for Prosperity Utah. So glad to have both of you on the show with us. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Great to be here.
You bet. Spencer, let's start with you. Give us a summary of what ballot question 1 is asking the voter.
So ballot question 1 is a compromise between the governor and 80 members, 79 members of the state legislature, between them and the Our Schools Now initiative that was run. The legislature did not want the 1% or half-cent sales tax and half-cent income tax increase. So they put this compromise on the ballot. It's an opinion question, as you know, and it raises the gas tax by 10 cents. And part of that goes to, 30% of that increase goes to local roads and the other 70% to schools.
So the idea here is to find out what Utahns think about it. Obviously, if it passes, it would send a message to the legislature that they want this to go through. It would be a 10-cent increase to this gas tax. Why do you not like that idea?
Well, I'm here as a single mom, 4 kids, also to speak for a lot of Utah voters who feel like they've, $500 million in tax increases over the last few years is more than enough. We had close to an $800 million budget surplus this last year, and hardly any of that was returned to taxpayers. And we just had a gas tax increase. We had a 5-cent per gallon gas tax increase. Utah has some of the highest gas prices in the country, and another tax increase is just too burdensome on Utah families.
Spencer, talk about that. Utah families are concerned about the taxes they're paying and, giving the approval to another tax increase. Why do you say it's necessary and worth it?
Well, over the past decade, $1 billion a year has been taken out of public education. It's gone for roads. And with success in the economy, you've got to build infrastructure. And no one is saying that's not a bad thing. So that has been taken out of public education. And our students are 50% proficient, less than 50% proficient in math, science, and reading. And it's time that there was an investment made in public education. Essentially, this does not go to the districts. This does not go to administration. This goes directly to local schools, $150 per student. And that school has to have a 1% increase every year, year over year, with the plan they put in place. And if they don't, they have to retool that plan each year. And so it's going to go essentially to classrooms. It's going to go to keep and retain outstanding teachers, which have been leaving in droves. So we need to make this investment, because based on this investment, we have a continued economic success.
That's one thing you are also concerned about, is the money that is going into education and how it's being spent.
Absolutely.
This ballot question does earmark it for specific areas, but you still have concerns. Why?
Yeah, so actually Utah, I don't think, has a budget issue. The Utah legislature has allocated and invested in education significantly, especially over the last couple of years. They've given over $1.2 billion in additional funding to public education, and our public education budget is around $7 billion. That's a lot of money. What we need to do, and what we aren't able to do right now, is track the spending where it goes down to the classroom, to the student. Even the legislators don't even know this. And I've talked to our John Dougal, our auditor in the state of Utah, who's also concerned about this, and his office is doing some audits right now just to kind of track to see where spending goes. I think we have a prioritization and allocation issue and not a budgetary issue.
Address that, because Utahns are concerned about maybe the money isn't being spent in the best way.
And that's why this question determines where the money goes. It goes directly to schools. But the problem we've had is we have a child problem in this state, and it's a lot of money over the past 3 years that Heather's just talked about, but that is just keeping up with growth and cost of living. So we can't keep ahead of the number of children we have coming into the education system, and it does require a lot of money to educate students, and those educated students bring jobs to the state of Utah. So although it's a lot of money that goes into education, it's being used wisely. We're second from the last in administration in the country. We only are above Hawaii by $1, so we're doing very well. And how much goes to administration? Very, very low. And that's important. Voters and educators and legislators want to know that there's low amount of money going into administration, but you have too many children in this state to keep up with growth and cost of living. So that's why this was put on the ballot, to ask people, would you like to see more money go into the classroom? Understanding that our students are below 50% in reading, science, and math. And it's a proven fact that if your child is not reading by the 3rd grade, it's really over for them. We want to see this money invested in directly to the classroom. We've done a lot of experiments with this. The Roy Cohn has been a perfect example of how an investment in a classroom can make a big difference.
Address that. Our, excuse me, our students lagging behind in those key vital areas. Why not make that investment to try to bring that up?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say there is no guarantee that this money is going to education. There is no bill, there is nothing right now that says that this money is guaranteed. If this question passes, there's no legislation, there's no I have not seen anything that says that this is guaranteed. In fact, gas taxes cannot go to education. Gas taxes go to the transportation fund. And so if they're gonna have to play some budgetary tricks to even get it to education. But a lot of Utahns need to understand that Utah spends more as a percentage of its budget than any other state in the country on education. So we do make it a priority.
That's a very misleading fact because we have a lot of children.
Absolutely we do, but we do spend, the majority of our budget goes, 40.9% goes towards education. And so it's a significant investment. But we outperform states. We have a lower per pupil spending, that's right, but according to several different organizations that measure K through 12 metrics, we are outperforming states like Oregon and New York on many, many metrics, including national testing. They spend upwards of $22,000 per pupil, and we're spending around $8,200. So we're above average as far as testing goes, and there's no guarantee that spending more money will equate to better outcomes.
Explain why you're confident that will go where you say it is, because at this point there isn't a bill, but you're confident that it will go
There actually is
to
a
the
bill.
classroom.
After the legislative session ended, legislative leadership appointed a team of legislators to sit down and work on a piece of legislation. That legislation is drafted and ready to go for the upcoming legislative session.
Is it public right now?
It is public.
It is.
It is public. And that bill says that this money will go directly to the classroom. It can't be used for administration. It can't be used for buildings. It goes direct to the classroom, and it's $4 a month. That's what the average voter in this state will pay in gas tax, $4 a month, direct to the classroom.
Okay, I have about 15 seconds left. We'll end on your final statement.
So if Tractor truly want to make an investment in their children's education, more so than what they already have done, the guaranteed way to do that is to donate to their local district foundation. They can actually direct those dollars to make it exactly to the classroom or to whatever they want, whether it's arts, music, sports, whatever. But that money is guaranteed to reach the classroom. It's guaranteed to go towards students.
All right, we're going to have to end on that note. Appreciate both of you being here, and we are just a couple of weeks now from seeing what happens. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Inside Utah Politics right after the break.